Welcome back to the Faith in Formation podcast. Good morning. I hope that your week has started off well already. It is Tuesday today, January 27th, and we're in 2 Corinthians chapter 3. And thanks for joining us here this morning and being a part. It's just me, no brother Sam, no other guest, just myself here this morning. We are going to look at 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and hopefully draw a conclusion from it. Before we hit our devotional, though, before we get to our text verse, title, and all of that, let's head to our memory verse for the week. It comes from John chapter 8 and verse 36. It says there, "If the Son therefore shall make you free, ye shall be free indeed." John 8 and verse 36. So this morning, we're going to look at a devotional entitled "A Free Spirit." And it comes from 2 Corinthians chapter 3 and verse 17. It says there, "Now the Lord is that Spirit, and where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." Now, that word liberty, I think, is misconstrued by a lot of people. And they think of liberty as the complete and total freedom of choice to do whatever I want. That's not the correct definition of liberty. It really isn't. And the title here this morning is "A Free Spirit." We're looking at, yes, liberty, but also the Spirit of the Lord. The verse there says, "Where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty." And we think of liberty, we think of freedom, we think of choice, think of these kind of terms and ideas. And really, true freedom is going to come when we are where the Spirit of the Lord is at. Because as the verse tells us, where the Spirit of the Lord is, there is liberty. And I think of an example that pops into my mind is of Paul and Silas in the dungeon that night. And they're in, manacles, they're in stocks, and they're thrown into prison. Their circumstances were terrible, horrid circumstances. And yet they found the strength to sing in the dungeon and to choose to be happy and joyful in the Lord. And God's Spirit was upon them. And it didn't matter if they were in a jail cell. It didn't matter if they were somewhere else. They were free. What mattered was that in their hearts and in their minds, they were free. They did have that liberty. Excuse me. They did have that freedom and liberty in their mind and spirit because that's where the Spirit of the Lord was. Their body might have been held. They might have been tied down by something, but it doesn't matter where Paul and Silas were. They decided that they were going to have that liberty, that freedom, without physically being free. And so, even today, it's the same with us. We find ourselves sometimes in situations that aren't so pleasant. And we think maybe we're trapped. We're in an area that we don't like. Our circumstances aren't good. I mean, I don't think any of us are getting thrown into prison and have, being put in stocks or have manacles put onto us. But maybe circumstances aren't great. And you find yourself in a place that you're not a fan of, that you don't like, right? And it might seem like, in a way, you are held captive or you're in bondage to whatever you have to do or wherever you have to be, or whatever it might be for you. But really, as the verse tells us, if you can get with the Spirit of God, the Spirit of God can be with you. You're going to have liberty no matter what the physical state, your physical state is like. Here, this verse really tells us how to obtain liberty, how to get it. If you want to have liberty, be where the Spirit of God is. Be there. Be close to Him. And that's how you can gain that liberty that nobody can take from you. Can someone potentially, put handcuffs on you? Yes, of course they can. Of course they can. Can you be thrown in prison for something? Yes, of course you could. But can people take your attitude, your spirit, your mind, and your heart and chain those up? No, not at all. They cannot do that. And that's where true liberty resides, is in those places. And if we can get our eyes off of the physical world and off of the things around us and get them more on the Holy Spirit, on the Spirit of God, we're going to find ourselves a lot happier, a lot more joyful, having a lot more freedom and liberty in our lives. think Paul and Silas are a great example. And of course, this verse here, our text verse tells us that if you can be where the Spirit of God is, Spirit of God can be on your life, you'll be free no matter what else is going on. Um, Throughout history, there have been a lot of people that have fought for liberty. They've run political campaigns for freedom and liberty, and large, full-scale attacks and things have been held over this concept. I mean, we won our freedom, liberty from the British so long ago, and we have this idea of that as sort of on a political and on a political scale. But really, freedom can be felt anywhere at any time, as long as the one requirement is met, and that is that the Spirit of God is there. We don't have to go to war. We don't have to win an election to obtain liberty and to obtain freedom. No, no, no. We just need the Spirit of God on our lives. That's what we need. That if that is there, then we will truly, truly be free. All right, well, that's our devotional this morning on a free spirit. I hope that that was a blessing to you. I know it's a blessing to me. I don't have to worry about all the circumstances that are happening around me. As long as I'm close to God, His Spirit is with me, I can indeed be free. Well, as you go to prayer this morning, you want to remember to pray for the missionaries today. Here at Temple, we have a lot of missionaries. We support a lot of them, Lord, and you want to grab a prayer letter from a few of those and pray for them this morning. Pray for their needs and their wants and the ministry that's going on in whatever country they're from. You want to pray for all those things, that God would use them mightily. But pray for your missionaries this morning. And then for our teenagers, we want to specifically mention Angie and lift her name up this morning as well. All right, well, that concludes our devotional for this morning. Thanks again for jumping on and joining us here and listening. And appreciate you taking the little bit of time here, wherever it is that you're listening from. And I hope that it was worth your time and that it was a blessing to you. Well, thanks again for listening. We're back on tomorrow. As I've mentioned before, there's a comment section below. If you would like to leave something there that you enjoyed something or something spoke to your heart, or any of those type of things, leave a comment below. We'd love to see your feedback and know what it is that you're thinking about and that God's dealing with you about. Well, that concludes our lesson here for this morning. Thank you again for listening, and we'll see you next time.